This year, the Department of Labor is rolling out its multilateral partnership for organizing, worker empowerment, and rights. It's a program called Empower, and it's meant to promote workers' rights abroad. Thea Lee is the Deputy Undersecretary for International Labor Affairs. Thea, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, what's the central mission of Empower?
The central mission of Empower is to really lift up and strengthen workers' rights abroad, and in particular, the rights of freedom of association and collective bargaining. And the reason is that protecting workers' rights to form independent democratic unions is central to democracy building, and that's so important for this particular administration.
And what is, I mean, I understand that you're talking about it promotes democracy, but what really prompted the creation of Empower now?
Well, a little over a year ago, Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh was at the Summit for Democracy, and we were thinking about what's labor's contribution to international democracy. And the one thing that we thought was the most important was the ability of workers to form and join independent unions. And so we wanted to take some of the work that the U.S. government is already doing, the State Department, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Department of Labor, and really focus both in terms of external messaging, what this administration values, what we care about, what we prioritize, and then also bring together some like-minded partners because of both the potential for doing some great work abroad, for lifting up workers' voices, and then also the importance of addressing some of the threats that workers face, some of the obstacles.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What are those threats? What are the issues that workers abroad face?
Well, unfortunately, in too many countries, workers who are trying to form independent democratic unions face sometimes violence, legal obstacles, threats. Some of them have been jailed, fired, harassed, beaten. And so what this project is doing is to make sure that we are bringing together like-minded governments, unions, civil society from all over the world, as well as philanthropy, to make sure that we are supporting both workers who come under attack abroad, and then also when a government goes in the wrong direction, is trying to weaken its labor laws, trying to take away rights that workers have to join independent unions.
You know, Thea, some cynics would say, look, the workers here in the United States need a lot of help. What's the U.S. government doing meddling in the affairs of workers overseas? That's
a great question, Mimi, and I think what my emphasis on this is that we need to do both. We can't choose one or the other. I spent 20 years in the labor movement here in the United States working for the AFL-CIO, the American Federation of Labor, Congress of Industrial Organizations. And as we try in the United States to make sure that we are protecting workers' rights to organize and to form unions and to bargain collectively, one of the things that we find is that if we are embedded in a global economy where workers don't have those rights, then then American workers are going to have a hard time exercising those rights. So we think this is essential to the jobs that we have at home, of protecting American workers, making sure they have good jobs, that they can bargain collectively, they can raise their voices, but that also that we are part of a global economy where workers can exercise those same rights.
So you believe that the rights of employees overseas actually impact workers here in the United States?
There's no question that they do. And one of the ways is, obviously, we're in a global economy. We have trade agreements. We have a lot of goods, services, capital that flows across international borders. If American workers are in direct competition with workers in other countries who are put in jail, beaten up, or even killed for trying to organize a union, it's going to make it a lot harder for them to make that argument that they deserve to have a union here at home. And I saw that time and time again at the bargaining table, or workers trying to organize, in manufacturing in particular, but any kind of global market, that this is going to be the kind of terms of competition that American workers face is very much impacted by the terms of competition that workers around the world face.
So how does the program work? How does Empower work?
So Empower is a commitment, first of all, on the part of the U.S. government to spend about up to $130 million over a couple of years to support and strengthen workers' rights to freedom of association and collective bargaining. We have more partners from philanthropy who have put in another $100 million, and now we have, just as of I think December 8th, we announced new government members to Empower. So we have the governments of Argentina, South Africa, Germany, Spain, and Canada who have joined as founding partners of Empower. So what this is going to be is a convening and a coordinating of like-minded governments and civil society and union organizations that want to support workers around the world. We're going to be able to meet and choose targets and to be able to put our resources to the most efficient use possible when we are supporting workers in their goals.
And you mentioned a few countries. Will you be working in countries that maybe aren't signed up for this program or that really need, those workers really need your help?
I think there are going to be two different kinds of work that Empower does. One is helping workers who are under threat, that are jailed unfairly. For example, we have a Cambodian labor leader named Chim Sitar who's been put in jail. She's been trying to organize casino workers in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh, and she's been put in jail without bail. So one of the things that Empower will do is bring together diplomatic energy from all these different governments and civil society organizations and unions to support her and to make sure that we brought attention to that case. The other thing, we'll be looking for opportunities where there might be organizing that's happening. In Lesotho, for example, there's been a new commitment among unions and women's rights organizations to have a binding commitment by some of the companies there to respect workers' rights and women's rights. So those kinds of opportunities might be a way of jumping in and reinforcing some of the good work that's starting to happen.
All right, Thea, thanks so much for being on the program.
Mimi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.